on your favorite podcast. Ty and I are back for the Golf Pod. It has been about 3 weeks, I think, since Ty and I have sat down and talked golf. We're obviously to the Tour Championships. We're going to talk about that. We're going to get into the Cantlay-Bryson playoff battle, which was pretty epic, and also get into the Kevin Van Valkenburg article regarding the fans and kind of how they treat Bryson and kind of the fans in general. It leads us to a little bit of a discussion about fan conduct at sporting events and what should be expected and what not. So that's a pretty interesting conversation I think that we'll have. We'll get our picks for the Tour Championship. We'll look ahead to the Ryder Cup. We'll discuss my golf outing in California, and we'll get into some of my putting woes, which, by the way, are off the freaking charts. It is a disaster right now. So it's Ty, it's me, it's the Golf Pod, and it's coming up next on the Tim Anderson Podcast. Hey, it's the Tim Anderson Podcast. I'm Tim, and that over there in his palatial manor in the north is my buddy Ty, my main man Ty. Good to have you here, Tyus.
Not to steal your line, but hey, I am looking forward to today. It's been a while. Let's talk some golf.
It has been a while, but you and I have had some crazy schedules over the last 3 weeks. Just haven't been able to make it work, but tonight we are here and we are making it work, and it's a beautiful thing, man. It really is. It's what we've been hoping for, and we finally got this thing done. Good job by you. As I readjust my microphone.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, you were not here for my. I was away. For the folks who've heard other podcasts, you've heard me talk about my trip to California. But really, the impetus was not just to go see the ocean and all the beautiful things that are out there. Went there to play golf, Ty, and played just two off-the-charts beautiful golf courses. Perhaps the two best golf experiences of my entire life to this point. Highly recommend it for anybody heading out to that area. Just incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. Loved it. I don't know if you've seen my pictures yet. Have you?
I have seen them, and I looked at them multiple times because I love that kind of stuff. But is there a better name for a golf course than Pasatiempo? It just puts you at ease.
Boy, it sure does, except for when you get on the first couple of greens. I'll just say this. The opening 3 holes at Pasatiempo are no joke. Like, they let you know that you are not in Kansas anymore. Like, it is... The first 3 holes are incredible. The first hole is a 420-yard par 4. It's downhill and then uphill to this green that is all over the place. And then the second hole is a kind of a dog-leggy par 4 that's, again, into a tough little slope. All the greens, first of all, it was the most challenging green complexes I've ever been on in my life. Never been on anything that difficult. And then the third hole it's for you, it's a flick 6-iron, but it was 230 yards up the hill surrounded by bunkers. I have to go at it with a 3-wood. It was, I've never seen a par 3 that difficult. It was, those first 3 were tough, and then it eased up and got a little better on the front, and the back 9 is a run of holes. Holy cow, you strap in. It's a fun time.
It sounds like a great time. I was jealous of you. We'll talk here in a second, but I don't want to rain on your parade, but I played golf, speaking of difficult courses, at the Royal Club. And played pretty well. Isn't
that beautiful? I love that golf course. There's been mixed reviews around here. I think it's some of the tougher greens in this area at the Royal, but I loved it. The course is in amazing shape. I love the layout. It was really, really cool.
Yeah, it's my second time there, first time there this year, and it was in great shape. It had a little bit of what you can't avoid right now is a soft layer of grass on top of hard grass, which makes it easy to chunk the ball. But difficult greens, but pretty cool stat. I had 0 3-putts. 18 holes, 0 3-putts.
The old ping is coming together for you. You're putting it lights out again.
Yeah.
I love the golf course. I had a great time there. I can't wait. I'm going to go back. I can't wait to go back. As far as local courses, and also Half Moon Bay, I got to just tell you this real quick. To the folks at Half Moon Bay, beautiful golf course. I only played the ocean course out of the 2, which I'm sure that the old course, which is an Arnold Palmer design, is fantastic. But the ocean course was about as beautiful. That's Pasatiempo is an experience, and you absolutely have to do it. And it might be the toughest golf course you'll play, and maybe one of the most and the greatest golf course you'll play. But Half Moon Bay is a course you'll play 20 times. It's kind of like how I feel about the Legend and the Quarry at Giants Ridge, because like you'll play I think you'd play the Legend 100 times and play the Quarry twice. Quarry is amazing, and Quarry might be the best course, but the Legend is the more playable, more fun course.
Couldn't have said it better. Yes, absolutely. The Quarry, you have to experience it, but you have more fun at the Legend. That's the beauty of golf, and the beauty of golf courses is it's not just good and bad. There's different intricacies and whatever you want to call it, but you can't always describe a golf course in one word. And that I mean, the Royal's kind of like that. It's a great course. It's fun. You stand on every tee and you're looking forward to playing the hole. But it's difficult, right? And you can leave that situation frustrated. Luckily, I played well enough and putted well enough and chipped well enough that didn't happen. But I could see leaving there pretty frustrated, no question.
I think the Royal is a really drivable golf course. Like, I think it's a very fun course on the tee box. One thing that Palmer did really well, and this was one of the last Palmer courses. So for folks listening who are wondering what the last Arnold Palmer designed this with Annika Sorenstam. So it's a Palmer Sorenstam here in the metro area, and it basically just opened the year after he passed, or maybe the year he passed, something like that. So it's one of the last ones that he kind of had a hand in, and it's a fun golf course, but it has the things that you love about Palmer courses: elevated tees, looking down into the hole, a pretty generous off the tee. Like, he lets you get off the tee, and then you got to hit a good second shot, and you better be able to putt.
Right, yeah, the greens are really difficult. Just a fun kind of story. So we're standing on the 10th tee, which was our first hole of the day. Mm-hmm. And the people I was playing with, I don't think were ready for the fact that I can bomb it a little bit. And, I was the last one to tee off. Everybody hits, pretty good shot kind of in the middle of the fairway. And the group ahead of us was also in our group, a fivesome. And I rolled one right up at their feet. So that was fun. Got to hear about that one at the clubhouse after.
And that's the beauty about the back nine is, like, 10 is a pretty gettable par 4. Like, it opens at Royal with, like, 3 or 4 pretty, I don't want to say easy holes, but gettable holes. Like, you can get on a run on the back nine. If you can survive that front, that par 5 ninth is really is kind of challenging.
If you can survive 1 and 2, that par 5 with the water on the right. And they take the driver out of your hand, essentially. And then they make you go about 50 feet uphill.
That Annika Sorenstam seems like a nice lady, but she's mean. She designs a pretty wicked 9 holes of golf. Like, the Sorenstam 9, I think, is really hard.
Really hard. Yeah, I was, like I said, we started on the back, and one of the guys in my group had played the course a number of times. And I, me, I don't remember golf holes. I'm not like you where I can recall shots and holes. And I just simply asked him, is the front 9 easier? And he said, no. And he was right.
Everybody in my group when we played the Royal this year was like, man, Sorenstam's kind of a bitch. Like, she's kind of she's tough. Like, who would have thought that she would have been such a, but she asks a lot of your golf game. And so you better bring it. And it's a fun golf course, and it's really awesome, and it's a gem out here in the metro. So if you haven't played the Royal, do it. No free ads, but, well, whatever, free ads. Go ahead and play it. I had a great time. I also should tell you this, Ty. Right before I left to go to California, I did play Mississippi National for the first time. I played the Highlands course. Have you been?
Is Mississippi National on 94 or 10, or what's it on?
It's in Red Wing. It's right off of Highway 61 in the South Metro, about an hour from here. And it is there's 5 golf courses not far from each other. Like, down there is Afton and Red Wing Golf Club and Mount Frontenac, and the 36 holes at Mississippi National. The Highlands course is treacherous, but boy is it fun. I have to tell you, the tee box were nothing to write home about, but the layout of the golf course itself and just the views you got were incredible. I thought it was one of the most fun courses I've played in the metro area in a while, and I can't wait to go back there as well. Shout out to those folks, because it was a really I want to do all 36. I want to play all 36 in a day out there, because it looks like 2 very distinct and different tests of golf, and I'm kind of all about that.
Layout is everything for me, I've come to learn. There's a golf course up by where we we spend our summers, and most people would say it's a terrible, terrible course because it's in terrible shape, but the layout's pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of thought behind the way it's cut through the woods, and there's some fun second shots and some fun tee shots, some blind tee shots, just some challenges. So you can make a good golf course, for me personally, out of a good course design and thought, as opposed to just all being about shape. I mean, that's what I've come to find about private golf courses is they tend to be pretty overrated because they're just in good shape, right? They take good care of them, but they're a lot of times city courses. They're not, because you have to be close to the masses of people who are going to want to, who have a short drive to be able to go play it a number of times a week. So a lot of times the layouts aren't that impressive. So
I kind of agree with you on that.
Layout.
I agree with you on that. Like, hey, if you were looking for a course, like in a good layout, what is 1 to 2 kind of requirements for you to kind of qualify as a good layout? What do you want in a course?
Not a big. You're not going to believe me, but I'm not a big fan of when holes run together. Although that saved me a couple times at Royal.
When like a fairway, like you can miss it way right and end up in a fairway, or miss it way left.
Yeah, and you could be 50 yards into the woods, but you find your ball in the middle of the other fairway. That's not. It's kind of the rub of the green, but it's also not really fair. It's the luck of the draw. But I think you have to have a good mix of holes. So I want to have a blind tee shot. I don't want to have all blind tee shots. I know there's a course, Golden Eagle, up kind of 50 Lakes area.
Yep.
That's a great golf course, but man, there's just all blind tee shots. I think just because of the nature of the land and not wanting to spend $10 million moving dirt. But I want to have a blind tee shot. I want to have a downhill par 3. I want to have an uphill par 3. I want to have a dog leg left. I want to have a dog leg right. It's just kind of the mix of holes. And then I want to stand on the tee. Again, not with the blind tee shot, but the other ones, I should be able to stand on the tee and look at the hole and think, okay, I know what they were going for here. They're saying you can go short, but you're going to have a long second shot. But if you're going to try to bomb the ball, you're going to have trouble. There's going to be a risk-reward decision. So I want to stand up there and admire the beauty, and also admire the fact that there's some thought put into this hole, and the strategy should dictate kind of how the hole's played.
I love elevated tees. I love par 3s where I hit 4 different clubs. If we have 4 par 3s, I want to hit 4 different clubs and have 4 different shots. I also like holes I like courses where all 14 clubs get used. I mean, and that's, for me, that may happen a lot, but it may not. Like, there are some courses where it is, if we're playing from further back or whatever, like I love Victory Links. I play a lot of hybrids and 5-irons at Victory Links. I very rarely go driver wedge or driver 9-iron or 3-wood off the tee or hit a hybrid. But I like having flexibility to do different things and to hit different shots and to have, different looks. But yeah, give me an elevated tee. Let me play all 14 clubs. Let the par 3s be distinct and different. And we got something. Most of the time, I can make something work out of anything. It can be firm. It can be soft. It can be, different kinds of grass, whatever, you name it. I'm not super picky about it. I'm a golf whore, as you know this. I will play anywhere, anytime. Doesn't matter. You name it, I'll be there. Those are the courses, though, that stick with me. Are the courses where, like, man, I hit every club, and I had to do everything, and I had, what views off the tees. I love that stuff. That's where it's at for me.
Yeah, and it's kind of few and far between with Minnesota courses, just kind of the lay of the land and the demographic and all of that we don't get a ton of high dollar. That's unfortunately what it takes to build a great golf course. In many cases, is it takes money, right? If you want to build a beautiful golf course that's outside of the cities, you got to find someone who's willing to put up a bunch of money, and that's not always in the cards. But another thing I've come to realize, and I say it all the time, is, especially this year, is you get what you pay for.
Yeah, 100%.
I played the Royal Club. I don't remember what I paid. It was $90, something like that. And someone who I was talking to said, "Wow, that's a lot of money." I thought, you know what? I could have went and played bunker for $75, saved $15, and it had been half the golf course.
Yeah, it's 90 feels like a bargain at Royal with what you get. With all the amenities that the course has, 90 feels like a bargain. Considering you pay, and I feel the same way about Troy Byrne. I pay about $90 to $100 to play Troy Byrne, and I feel like, man, that is way worth it. Like, that is way worth it, which is just awesome, because Troy Byrne is one of my favorite courses in the area, and I can't wait to go play the new Craigens course that Tom Lehman's designing up there in Brainerd, because they're moving things around and doing a lot of new things, but I'm like, I kind of like what Tom Lehman does on golf courses. Like, I love what TPC looks like, and he had a big hand in that. Love Troy Byrne. I'm going to love what he does up at Craigens. It's going to be awesome.
I'm looking forward to playing that. There's some good courses up Brainerd area. When I was talking about money and lack thereof, I was not talking about the old Brainerd area.
Yeah, but you are right, though. You get what you pay for. Like, if you that's why I don't complain when we play some of the local stuff that we have around here that's pretty cheap. You can get out there for $28, $29 with a BOGO or $30. It's like, how are you going to get mad at that? I mean, that's pretty good value for what you're going to get. Now, don't be pissed off if there's some hard pan dirt somewhere, and don't be pissed off if, there's, a tough tee box every now and again. But it's $30 and you're playing golf. It's a good thing.
Yeah, there's no complaining about a $30 golf course. You just can't do it. If you didn't want to play the $30 golf course, you should have went and played the $100 golf course.
100%. You want to play it? If you want everything perfect, go play the $100 and $200. I mean, go play Pasatiempo. Go play Half Moon Bay for $250. Go ahead, but you don't get to do that every day, and you got to be able to play golf consistently in order to do that. And I like all golf experiences. I think they're all fun. It just depends on, exactly, what is your mindset going into that day, and that's the whole point. I'm dying to play some golf, by the way. I haven't played all week, and I'm looking to get out. We need to get out. You and I need to talk about this and get this thing done, because we got to get it done.
Sounds good.
It's going to be fun times. Hey, I watched the. We'll get into my putting in just a little bit, but let's talk about what happened last week. The Caves Valley, first time we've seen this golf course. You and I had differing opinions on this. I came around to you a little bit more at the end. Cantlay wins in a playoff over Bryson. He has the 2-shot advantage heading into the Tour Championship. You were enthralled by the golf course from start to finish. Give me your thoughts.
I thought it was a great week. Now, I was tuned out a little bit the week prior, and I watched a lot this week, so it could have been a product of that. But Caves Valley in general, it was very aesthetically pleasing, which does a lot for me when it comes to the TV experiences, as I've talked about in this podcast in the past. I thought there were nice elevation changes. It was an immaculate shape, which PGA Tour events tend to be at golf courses that are in immaculate shape, so that's nothing new. But it had a fun finishing hole. You really can't say it didn't have a fun finishing hole. Now, the 7th time they played it on Sunday, it got to be a little too much. But I thought it was a really good tournament, and I thought that a lot of the criticism of the golf course is going to be the winning score, but I thought it was a little bit more of a product of these guys are kind of at the peak of their game as far as trying to figure it out the right time of year. This is a time of the year that they're aiming to figure it, and a lot of the guys have, and it was really just 2 guys who were on fire. And if you take those 2 out, then you have a winning score of 23, which is, that's not Augusta, that's not major championship winnings courses, but you don't look at 23 and think that that's an outlier. That's probably pretty average. So I think that a golf course like this, when they come back next time, you really can't gauge how a professional player is going to play, or 75 professional golfers are going to play your course until they play your course. So they'll make adjustments, and I think that the course will probably be more of a complete package next time they come back. But in general, for a first time that Baltimore's had a professional golf tournament in a long time, we'll get into the fan stuff, but I thought that the golf course showed out very well. And we had a family deal on Sunday, and there were 10 of us sitting around the TV, and we were dialed into every shot. It was
great television. We were in between fantasy football drafts, and so I caught a lot of the playoff in the last few holes, and it was riveting television at the end. I will 100% admit that. Tom Fazio builds really beautiful golf courses. Having played, one Tom Fazio in my life, I just remember leaving that course going, that course is beautiful, right? And Tom Fazio, there's a lot of he has a lot of those elements that are always about, man, how do I make a hole look aesthetically pleasing? He knows how to do that. And my complaints aren't really anything. And you're right. I don't know if there's anything they could have done differently. If it rains 6 inches of rain and it softens the golf course to the point where it is just hit and stop it, I guess I don't know what you do. The problem is that these guys are so good, and if they get to put their hands on the ball and clean it and put it where they want in the fairway and always have a great lie, and they are going to murder the golf course. Like, they just are. And I don't care how long the course is. I don't care what time. It does not matter. The course could be 9,000 yards and 27 under will win. Length doesn't matter to these guys. You can make it 7,800 yards, 7,200 yards, 6,800 yards. If it's soft, it's over. And that's unfortunately what it was. And that's why it's like, man, that does take away from it. It does for me, because to me, at this level, every single one of the guys that's in the top 70 can hit it high, stop it, and spin a wedge. They all can do that. So it's not an exhibition of who is better. It just becomes an exhibition of who can putt that week. And I'm not saying that's not a skill, because it is, but I just think it just leaves a lot to be desired. I don't know if the best player wins. It's just the birdie machine wins. And don't get me wrong, Cantlay and DeChambeau were amazing. They played out of their minds. But I don't know. I guess I would have... You just wish you could find a way to get the Dan course to be a little firmer. And I understand they don't want mud balls, but part of me is just like, you know what? No lift clean in place. Play it as it lies. And if you get a mud ball, you get a mud ball. Deal with it. I don't know. That's just where my issues were with the golf course. But the playoffs itself, down the stretch, can't argue with the drama. It was terrific.
I think I'm going to be the only person saying this, but I was rooting for Bryson on Sunday. My wife was vehemently rooting against him. It was like the Super Bowl for her when he didn't win. It doesn't mean that I like him, but I kind of thought he deserved a little better, not taking anything away from Cantlay. But we've been waiting for a long time for Bryson to dial in the driver, and he was dialed in. It was pretty impressive stuff, and he was hitting the other stuff well enough, wedges and irons. Unfortunately, he just didn't have the putter, and that's what did him in. But I thought he played fantastically, and I thought it was impressive seeing, aside from the one ball that went in the water, and really it was, landed in the fairway, took a bounce in the rough, and then landed in the water. So it wasn't as far off as some people might think. Aside from that, it was a pretty impressive display with the driver. He
drove the hell. He played tee to green better than anybody by a long shot. You just give Cantlay credit. He had the most historic putting week, on the PGA Tour history. And you look at, and Cantlay hasn't putted in 2 months. Like, Cantlay hasn't made a putt of substance all summer long. And for him to just wake up and be red hot and make everything was pretty incredible. And Cantlay made some big putts. I mean, the putt on 18 just to get into the playoffs was, that's chutzpah. That is cojones. That is marbles. That's everything you want from a big-time player. And good for Patrick Cantlay. I was rooting against Bryson, but we are at a stage where I think we all have to, listen, I'm not going to cheer for him on the course, but this moves us into that fan conversation. If I was at a tournament, I would not be actively heckling or booing any player, even guys that I'm not huge fans of. And do I want Bryson to not win a bunch of tournaments and be the greatest player of all time? No, I don't. I don't want him to be, because he drives me bananas, and he's a freaking sociopath, and he's a lunatic, and I have no time for it. And he brings a lot of this stuff on himself. But the fan behavior and what's kind of happening on tour is also a bit it's a bit much. It's a bit much for my taste. And so I'm assuming that's where you're falling on this as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's an important topic, and it's been a very very popular topic this week, talking about where's the line with fan behavior. And obviously, we're not talking about fans entering the field of play or doing anything that's egregious, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's appropriate. And a lot of people like, the stuffy types like to say, well, golf, they need to have thicker skin, whatever, But these guys take it all day long. I just remember when I was at the 3M a few weeks ago and seeing players that close to me, I was afraid to say something too positive because I didn't want them to think I was weird. Let alone saying anything, controversial. I would have never done that. It's almost like telling off a police officer. You're a little bit on it. Your senses are heightened, and you're just a little bit more aware, and you don't want to make a wrong move. You just want to be cool in that situation, and I just can't. I know the type of people that would do it, but I have no problem with the PGA Tour stepping up and saying, you know what? You can't say Brooksy when Bryson's standing there. It had its place. It was funny, and unfortunately, a fan stepped over the line, as most people probably know, when Bryson was walking off the golf course, said Brooksy as he was walking by, and it almost led to a confrontation, and that's unfortunate. And I honestly, having read the article that you sent me, I think it was an ESPN article.
Yep, KVV, Kevin Van Valkenburg. If you haven't read it, do that. It's a good article.
Great article. I'm not sure, and I'm not a Bryson fan, I'm not sure that I blame Bryson one bit in that situation. I mean, you've just went through 4 days of golf, 6 playoff holes, the up and the down, the difference between $2 million and $1 million, and Bryson wants to win so badly. Second place means nothing to Bryson DeChambeau right now. He's only out there to win and make a name for himself. And he came so close, played so well, and he just got outlasted by Patrick Cantlay. And a fan steps in and touches the hot button. And again, I don't blame Bryson in that situation. And kudos to him for not taking it any further. But again, the PGA Tour had every right to step in and say, hey, I know this isn't a bad word, but you can't say it.
Yeah, Eamon Lynch this morning came out and tried to say that, the PGA's got to stop trying to babysit Bryson and that he's a big boy and he can handle it. But I think Eamon also hates Bryson DeChambeau. I think that's fair. But I don't think that that's the point. I don't think they're trying to babysit. But it's the point of this. And fans do this all the time. They say, I pay a lot of money for those tickets. I pay a lot of money for the beer I have to drink. And I do all that, so I've earned the right to do and say whatever I want in these tournaments. And my comeback is, no, you haven't. No, it is not just like, it's not a ticket to go to the event and be a part of the event. You're a ticket to go and observe the event and spectate and take it in, not be an active participant in it. And we're starting to see this way too many times. If you look at the NFL preseason, we've had 2 knockdown, drag-out fights at preseason games, which is just bananas. It is absolutely outrageous. In the NBA playoffs, we saw people on the court throwing popcorn, storming the court whenever they could because it's about getting on TV, it's about getting noticed and being a part of the game. And we've been seeing this a little bit in golf. We saw it at the PGA Championship. You and I commented on it. The fans wanted to touch Phil and touch Brooks and be a part of the action. And it's like, you drunken hillbillies need to be 100 feet away. You can't get that close to the players. You can't get that close to the golf course. I completely detest that kind of thing. And, now we're seeing, and it's always the morons that yell the Baba Booies and all that. It's like, okay, I can live with that nonsense. It's stupid. It's sophomoric and I can't stand it. But I think there comes a time when, like, I hated it when people gave it to Sergio all those years ago. I hated it when people gave it to Colin Montgomery all those years ago. And I don't like it necessarily now. Again, did Colin Montgomery, was he a jerk to people? Yeah, sure was. Was Sergio a jerk? And is he still kind of a jerk? Yeah, he is. And is Bryson a jerk? Yep, he sure is. 100% on all of those things. But I still think he has a right to play golf without feeling like he's got 10,000 people who are going to, talk in his backswing or yell Brooksy after every swing. I think he's got a right to play golf with some level of decorum around him. And, if you beat him that way, great. I'll always root against Bryson in that regard then, because at least we're beating him straight up and it's no big deal. But this is not how I want to see Bryson DeChambeau lose golf tournaments.
And I honestly have no problem seeing golf in a different light than other sports. I'm sorry, but football does not ever start a play from the 14th row like golf does when you hit a drive wide right and they have to move the fans in order for the player to get in there and hit a shot. The proximity is very different. The intimacy is very different. And I just don't think there's anything wrong with saying golf is a little bit different. And it's not because it's a country club sport, but it's because these guys need total focus. You know, if Tom Brady's dropping back for a pass and someone's screaming in the stands, it's not going to affect him. But any golfer has someone talking their backswing, it's going to affect them. It's just a little different. You know, and I just have no problem with it being talked about in a different manner. And I think the PGA Tour did a great job of stepping up and saying, okay, I know we're going to get criticism for this because people are going to say we're soft and we're a country club sport, but you know what? We're looking out for the game, we're looking out for our players, and we're looking out for our fans, because honestly, people don't want to see it this way, but there's a fine line between a fight in the stands and the malice at the palace, which is, you know, in the media right now with the Netflix special coming out. You know, that stuff you can't have in your sport. You can't have confrontations between players and fans. That's something that brings only negative light. And with rules like this, like I said, they're looking out for both sides. It seems like they're being soft on the players, but they're ultimately looking out for both sides.
Yeah, and I think that, the PGA Tour wants the fans to be close to the players. Like, they want that. But you're going to get to a place where you can't have it if we go down this road. I mean, you have to come up with different ways to have the fans roam around or something. And I get it. Like, they say, well, the Ryder Cup, this kind of thing's encouraged at the Ryder Cup, and this kind of thing's encouraged at the 16th hole at Scottsdale. So the PGA Tour just seems to pick and choose when they want rowdy fans and when they don't, and it seems like they encourage the 16th hole at Scottsdale and at the Ryder Cup. And I'm like, I understand that. I totally understand that. I really do. But it's. I just think that we have to, and I don't understand those differences too sometimes. Like people go nuts for the Ryder Cup and they go nuts at Scottsdale, and I understand that, but unless that is a kind of baked-in part of the golf tournament. And in the case of Scottsdale, it is. It's baked in, and so is the Ryder Cup. But it's not baked in at Caves Valley. It's not baked in at the U.S. Open. So we need to – that's where we have to at least have some awareness. And we saw this even a little bit at 3M. There are morons that just want to yell at tee boxes, "What's going on, DJ? Are you ready to do it?" And I'm like, man, will you shut up? Like, nobody's there to watch your dumb ass. Like, can we just sit here quietly and watch the best player in the world play golf? I don't get it. Ugh, fans drive me nuts. Yet we need them. Yet we need them. I don't know. Although, I got to tell you, I didn't miss fans for golf. I didn't.
Without them.
Yeah, I know. But I didn't really miss fans for golf. I missed fans for every other sport. Didn't really miss them for golf. It was like, oh, Morikawa hit a drive, and nobody yelled Baba Booey or mashed potatoes. Sweet. Although you do miss it on the big roars with big putts. Like, I think at the Ryder Cup, it'll be pretty exciting if somebody drains a putt and we get a big roar. That would be pretty cool.
You certainly wouldn't want the. I'm glad that they didn't go forward with the Ryder Cup. That's a different, like you said, a baked-in deal. You need it. It's just different. It's not the Masters. It's not the U.S. Open. I didn't miss it at the time. I remember thinking that the product was just fine, and the drama played out on its own. But now that fans are back and 18th hole on Sunday, in hindsight, I miss it. But I know what you mean.
So we'll keep an eye on that. Bryson's obviously going to be the talk of this thing this weekend. He's 2 shots back as we kind of head into this. Do you like we'll get into the Tour Championship in just a minute, but we'll keep an eye on him and see how this goes. One other thing, the Ryder Cup, the 6 captains' picks, I think, come down next week. The 6 guys who have clinched their spots, I think it's Brooks, it's Bryson, DJ, Patrick Cantlay, Xander, and Justin Thomas. I think those 6 are in. And a lot of people think that Spieth's a lock, and Morikawa, obviously. I think Morikawa might be instead of Thomas. Maybe it is. But everybody thinks that those guys are locks, right? Spieth's a lock. People look at Finau and think maybe he's a lock now that he won at Liberty National. There's a number of guys that that we're looking at here, but it's going to be interesting. One guy who's not going to be on that list, though, curious to hear your thoughts. The vice captains sound like they've been named a little bit, and Phil is one of the vice captains. So for the first time in like 25 years, Phil Mickelson will not be on Team USA for the Ryder Cup. Your thoughts?
Yeah, part of me thinks that Phil's too proud, and he take out the anomaly of winning the PGA Championship. I think that Phil probably knows that his game's not quite there, and he doesn't want to make a mockery of the team. And I do think Phil, as much as he can be a little bit self-centered or not self-centered, but I don't know what you want to call it. Everyone out there who knows Phil Mickelson knows what I'm talking about. But I think that he probably doesn't want to embarrass himself, and there's really nothing to say that the game's there again, aside from the one outlier week. But that's my first thought with seeing that he's not going to be a captain's pick.
I could have taken him in a best ball. Like, I feel like he would have played okay in a best ball format. I wouldn't have wanted him for alternate shot, but for a best ball format, I think he would have been fine. Especially when you're looking at the kind of the makeup of the team right now. You got a lot of guys with issues. You have Brooks and Bryson have issues. Obviously, a lot of people made a big deal, I think, out of nothing with the Cantlay Bryson stuff at the 14th hole when he told him to stop walking and all that stuff. Cantlay took that it's seemingly in stride publicly, but who knows? Azinger seemed to think that it was a big motivator for Cantlay. Who knows what's going on there? But you look at Phil and you're like, Phil's pretty agreeable. I feel like he'd be somebody who could play with Bryson. And you just wonder how that's going to shake itself out. No word on Tiger. It sounds like Tiger's not even going to vice captain. I think there were some thoughts that maybe he would be asked, that maybe he would come up and ride in the cart, but maybe given his back, given the terrain, given the ankle, vice captaining and sitting in a cart, not his bag. So it doesn't appear that Tiger's going to be anywhere even near Whistling Straits for the Ryder Cup this year too, which is kind of also an interesting development.
Yeah, you take the good and the bad with Tiger. The good is when he's on, he's must-see TV, and when he's not, he does not want to be anywhere near the spotlight, which
but I mean,
it is what it is.
He went to Hazeltine as a vice captain in 2016, and by all accounts was loved by the players, right, and did a fine job. But Hazeltine might be a hair flatter, might be an easier walk. He didn't have an ankle that was, recovering. I mean, there was probably a number of variables that go into it. And I'm going to walk that course for a Tuesday practice round at Whistling Straits, but just looking at the pictures, doesn't look like the most walkable golf course. I mean, it looks like it's a tough walk.
Yet they make you walk it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. There's no carts there. It's a mandatory walk, but it's not an easy walk, and it's probably because it's also not an easy cart. I would imagine you get too close to those cliffs and you're in trouble. I mean, it looks like a tough one. I will report back to you when I go out there. I'm doing the Tuesday practice round at Ryder Cup this year. I'm going to try to bring you back a little souvenir too, Tyus. That's my goal. I got to bring you back a little something. I'm trying to find some good Europe swag. I never feel like there's good European apparel, but I'll be bringing back something for you. I'll be bringing back something for everybody. I can't wait to go to the Ryder Cup. It's going to be a lot of fun to walk the golf course and check the place out and follow guys in practice rounds. Should be a good time. But yeah, I'm interested to see the difficulty of the walk and just how the setup is and what they're looking for Team USA if they're going to try to win. I'm a little concerned. I think Team USA has got a lot going wrong with it right now. I think there's a really good chance they get waxed by the Europeans. A really good chance.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to look forward to with the U.S. team this year, unfortunately. But it's golf. You can catch fire. You just got to hope they show up and really embrace the team mentality and the fact that they're on U.S. soil and again catch fire. There's always that chance. I do want to do a quick sidebar to something that just popped into my head. So
yeah, a
friend of mine was playing a scramble at Midland Hills, which I've played before. Great private course, one of the better ones.
It has a nice layout to it. It's because it's one of the rare private courses where you can actually see the golf course from the highway. Normally they don't let you look at anything like that, but it's very nice.
So a friend of mine's playing a scramble at Midland, and they are standing on the green, and there's a tee box sort of adjoining or pretty nearby, and some carts in the cart path, and the cart girl, young high school girl, is trying to get around the carts on a steep side hill, tips the cart onto herself.
Oh, no.
And a la your bachelor party.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, yeah.
But she was pretty injured, and they ended up having to lift the cart, which is the beverage cart is a very heavy cart.
No doubt. A lot of stuff in there, ice.
A lot of weight. And so they were able to lift that off of her, but she was not able to get up and move. They had to wait for a ambulance to drive out to the 11th hole or wherever they were, and ambulance her away. And apparently she did break her pelvis.
Oh, my God.
Kind of a decent little injury. But
wow.
Yeah, hopefully not to bring insurance in, but hopefully Midland Hills has their workers' comp insurance all set up.
And the problem here too is this is where, like, driving the beverage cart, you have these 18, 19-year-old, and it's mostly, I haven't met a cart guy. So cart girl, and I'm not trying to be misogynistic here, but I've yet to meet in 12 years of playing golf a male cart attendant. I've not met one yet. Beverage cart. Have you?
I've met one, and I think it was like a small course manager of the course. Gal probably didn't show up, so he was driving the bev cart. But yeah, just one time. So they are
few and far between. So, but I only say this because, if you don't know golf, it can be, and some of these girls don't know golf. Like, some of them are just like, I'm here to drive the cart around and serve drinks and make money, and that's what I'm here to do. But, like, someone's got to tell her, hey, don't drive on the hill with this thing. Like, just wait. I know it sucks, but give it 2 minutes. You'll get through. You'll be fine. Or the moron guys need to figure out what to do with the cart so that the beverage cart can get through. But there's no reason to put anybody in a position to be, to tip the cart. That can't happen. Just can't happen. Something had to be, like, there either has to be some stronger training there, or the guys on the tee need to be very aware of what they're looking at and either move carts or whatever, but they can't risk that. That's a risk that was unnecessary, don't you think?
Absolutely, and it's probably a training issue. If there's a group on one green and on one tee box, but yeah, you just got to make sure that they're aware of, hey, the power of this cart. If this tips on you, you could be in real trouble.
It's dangerous stuff.
You could end your life, right? There's a lot of weight to that cart. And like you said, if you haven't been playing golf since you were 13 years old and driven the cart 100 times, you don't necessarily know the dangers of it. But luckily, she's going to be okay. But I thought I'd sidebar and tell
I always get weird too when I see parents in golf carts letting, like, their 5-year-old drive the cart. I'm like, this isn't a toy, right? Like, this isn't like the remote control car in your driveway. Like, this is a thing with a motor, and it can go 25, 30 miles an hour, if it's really ramped up and going. Like some of the golf courses at my club, man, some of those are hot rods. But I always get a little weirded out when I see the little kid driving the cart with dad. It get weird. It's just a weird thing. We got to have some rules on that.
There probably are. Just nobody polices them.
That's probably true. Hey, additional sidebar, and then we'll get into our picks for the Tour Championship. My putting game is off the freaking rails, Ty. Off the rails. It is the worst. I'm in the worst putting slump of my golf life. I have not seen a putt of substance go in. Well, I had one putt, but I think it was luck. I swear. But I have not seen a putt of substance go in a long time. And basically, I've missed every 6-footer for the last 3.5 weeks. Can't make a 6-foot putt. Can't do it.
And unfortunately, that's golf. You got to be able to make. You don't have to make the 12-footers, but you have to make the 6-footers. You just do. So best of luck to you there. If I was a better putter, I might have some advice for you. But
you make more putts than I do, Mister. I didn't putt three. I didn't have one 3-putt at Royal.
Day. Not on the average day, but I can get hot with the putter, and unfortunately, it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're on the pro tour or your first time golfing. It's all about believing in yourself, and some people, you're going to get hot every once in a while, and you're going to get cold. So you're going through one of those cold streaks. You just got to, honestly, it's probably not practicing out of it. It's probably just waiting it out. It'll, be confident and it'll pass.
Part of it is I've lost a little faith in the putting grip, and so I feel like I'm changing grips every 6 minutes. I'm trying to do different things with the conventional grip. Like I'm trying to, you do the reverse overlap. I'm not interlocking at all. I'm not overlapping at all sometimes. And man, I'm trying everything I can think of to get the damn putter to work, and it's just ice cold. And I'll just tell you this, like, I've done a pretty good job this year of keeping my emotions in check, not letting things bother me. Like last Saturday I played Onika, and I shot like 85. I mean, granted, the last 6 holes I was trying to beat a rainstorm in, so I was playing probably a little faster than I wanted to play. But man, it was one of them days where literally nothing went right. Like, I didn't hit one really good shot, and I missed every single putt. I mean, not one putt went in. And it just grinds on you. It just starts to really wear on you. And I was like, man, maybe I need 4 days off. So I haven't played golf since last Saturday. But I left the course about as miserable. Like, it's the most miserable I've been all year playing golf. And it's just because I'm not seeing the ball go in the hole. And I don't want to buy another putter. Like, I don't want to be doing that. I don't want to be buying 27 putters and just doing that. I got to make some putts. But man, oh man, is it getting frustrating.
Yeah, the best advice I can give you is wait it out. It'll turn around. Not you. It's not the putter. It's not the grip. It's just golf, unfortunately.
Damn golf. Oh, damn it.
He chose this sport, so.
I know, I did. I know that. All right. Tour Championship is this weekend. Ty, can you believe we are already at the end of the golf season? Well, it's been a long season, and the new season starts in like a week. So, I mean, I guess that really doesn't, I don't know what it matters, but here we are. The end of the golf season. We've made it. We're to the Tour Championship. East Lake Golf Course. It's a nice course. It's fun. It's fun enough. It's definitely better with the reverse nines when they went to that like 6 years ago. And it's produced some pretty good stuff over the last few years. Looking forward to this. Are you in on the Tour Championship? And do you like this format? Can I ask you that? Do you like the starting at 10 under? And what do you want to do differently with the FedEx Cup if you could, if you don't like this format?
Two things can be true at once. The format sucks, but it's totally necessary. There's nothing I hate more than being on the 18th hole with the final group and hearing if he birdies it, he wins the FedEx Cup. But he's not going to win the tournament. Not a fan of that.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
It really, like I said, it seems it's silly and watered down, but ultimately on Sunday when you turn on your TV and see the scores, you're not going to think too much about the starting scores. It's just going to be where these guys are. And ultimately, a lot of people want to say, well, you shouldn't start with the score. Well, these guys have been playing for this score all year long, so I have a hard time saying that they didn't earn it. And it's close enough that, Patrick Cantlay he's going to be 10 under to start, and I wouldn't necessarily pick Patrick Cantlay as my favorite player this week, right? Everyone really has a chance. Starting 10 strokes back isn't ideal, but 2, 3, 4, it's really nothing for these guys. They can make it up in a day. So
I completely agree with you. I'm not worried about you're right. Something had to give there. There are still some things that I'd like to tweak about this whole format. I actually wouldn't mind if the first 2 tournaments were cumulative and they didn't cut anybody. Like say we played the 125 that made it, play the first 2 events and it's cumulative. Something like that would be great. Or you play that first tournament, you get it to 70, and then from 70 on down, even 70 to the Tour Championship, we play that cumulative, and we take that all the way into the clubhouse, and we see how it goes. So it'd be like an 8-round tournament at 2 different venues. I wouldn't hate that, because you can still give a winner to the BMW Championship and just start the next tournament wherever they are, and let that be a cumulative score. I also think they have to look at the points for, like, the fact that Patrick Cantlay got 1,500 points for that win or whatever it was at Caves Valley, and Morikawa got 600 for winning the Open. Like, I want to see like the majors at least get 1,000 points. Like if you win the U.S. Open, it's big. You win the Masters, it's big. It's 1,000 points. It's 1,500 points. I want it to matter as much. Which it's weird to me that they've put more point value on the BMW Championship than they do the Masters. It's just weird to me, and I can't wrap my head around that.
Yeah, the other side of the coin is they want to make sure that down the stretch of the season, once the playoffs start, that everyone kind of has a shot. An Eric Van Rooyen can come out and make the Tour Championship despite probably being 99th to start the playoffs. But like you said, it seems a little silly on the surface. My real issue lies, and this is going to be an unpopular opinion. Do you think that they need a $15 million prize for the winner? It seems gluttonous to me.
The money thing doesn't seem to motivate the guys because, like, if Cam Smith's quote was pretty much spot on. I don't know. And by the way, has anybody moved up the favorite player list this year more than Cam Smith? Like, I'm the biggest Cam. You and I may be the biggest Cam Smith guys in the world right now. Maybe besides his family.
My favorite player. He's my favorite player in the world right now, and I had that written down. That was my perfect example of the fact that it's too much money, but yet it doesn't move the needle. Ask Cam Smith for those out there who didn't see the interview, what would you do with $15 million? He said, I don't know. I'm pretty set. Nothing. I might buy some new fishing equipment. Right? $15 million. And it's easy to compare that to other sports and say, well, Kirk Cousins makes $33 million. What's $15 million to the champion golfer of the year? But I think that those sports are excessive too, right? I don't understand why Patrick Mahomes, when he has to be the number one paid player, which I understand he's the most valuable player in the league, has to go from the top player making $33-34 million to we're going to pay you $50 million a year. I just don't think that does anything for the game. I'm not a spread the wealth guy. I'm not. When it comes to sports, it's just too much. And if it's not doing anything for the game, I don't understand it. And I don't know what you do. Again, that's way above my pay grade. But I just think it's too much.
Yeah, I don't know. Silly. I don't know what you do. That's exactly the answer. Is I don't know what you do. When a guy like Cam Smith, who's not, look, Cam Smith's a great player, but he's like, he's like a 15th to 20th best player in the world, maybe. And when he's at his best, he's a top 10 player in the world. And when he doesn't even blink at $15 million, that's got to tell you something. Like, that tells you that the good news is if the money is so big, then the money doesn't matter. It's about the trophy, which could be great, right? That might be the equalizer, but at the same time, man, if money isn't motivating you, and winning doesn't matter, I don't know, because they've asked Kevin Kisner, like, yeah, 20th pays a lot though, and that's why I go to the tournament. Like, it's like what's I don't know how you motivate it or make the playoffs better or make the system better or make it different. I don't know the answer to that because I'm not really sure what you can do to entice if it's not money, not lots of money, and it's not necessarily trophies and Hall of Fame and all that stuff. Then I guess I don't know what more you can do. And I do think you're right. Is there a point of no return on this? Is there a point of diminished returns? I don't know the answer to that either. So I wonder what that looks like in 5 years. I'm with you. I don't know what it looks like in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years. It'll be interesting to watch.
They essentially upped it from 10 to 15 thinking that would move the needle, and it didn't. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah. I don't have the answer for that, but I thought that quote was pretty interesting. But I love Cam for telling it like it is. I appreciate the honesty. It's better than him saying, yeah, that'd be really amazing. It's life-changing money. It's clearly not. It's not when you got $20 million in the bank already, or $30 million in the bank. $15 million doesn't move the needle that much. He doesn't have to play another round of golf if he doesn't want to. And people wonder why Anthony Kim's not playing. By the way, I miss Anthony Kim. Anyway, let's talk. Let's get to our picks then. How about that? Let's pick for the Tour Championship this week. We'll see how it goes. And then you and I are going to definitely do a pod for the Ryder Cup, which is going to be exciting. Can't wait to have that. That's going to be a great time. But we're going to see how it goes from there. And then, maybe we'll take a little pause as we get into the football season. We'll see. We'll definitely throw the bat signal up for Ty whenever we want to just talk random stuff, besides just golf. We love having Ty on the podcast. All right, Ty, you ready to do this?
Let's do it.
I love it. Let me go to my picks here. You are, of course, the guest, so you always get to go first. That's kind of how this works. Tour Championship, there's only 30 guys in the field, and it is a no cut. I feel like you and I both need to make the money this week. Should happen.
Yeah, it's tough to make picks with 30 players, and they're all really, really, really good. They're either really good and really expensive, or not that good, and you don't feel like they have a ton of a chance, and they're starting 9 strokes back. So it was probably the hardest picks I've made. I can't say I love my picks, but first pick I just went with Dustin Johnson. He said a million times he likes the course. He's had success here, so I'm going to go with DJ.
I had to take the number 1 guy. If you're in first place, I got to assume you'll stay in first place. That gives you bonus points. So I'm going to take Patrick Cantlay. And that's $12,800, but felt like you had to do it. So I like the DJ pick. I think if there's a guy who can maybe get hot, get on a run, maybe shoot 5-6 under in the first round and put himself in the mix, could be DJ. But his season has been so weird. I keep waiting for him to turn on the Jets and have a big time tournament. It just hasn't happened yet.
Maybe it'll be here. We'll see.
Maybe you're right. Now's as good a time as any.
Second pick, I went with someone who I just don't think the moment's going to be too big for him. And I went with JT.
There you go.
He's playing okay. He's playing all right.
I do worry about him. He's the one guy out of the 2 years where he had the lead coming into this tournament. He said it bothered him. He didn't know what to do with it. And he played differently and allowed Rory to come from behind and snipe it from him. But he's starting to show some signs of life a little bit here. And, yeah, it may not be a bad play to take this week. And, good for JT if he can pull it off. It's been, even though he made the Tour Championship, I think it's safe to say it's been a kind of an up and down, maybe disappointing year for Justin Thomas. A year that he's probably just ready to move on and get over with. I'm going to take your guy. I'm going to take Bryson DeChambeau, 12,600. I'm going to take these top 2 guys because I feel like they might duel again. You just got a feeling they might go at it again here at Eastlake, and I want to have both guys if that's the case.
I mean, if Bryson plays like he did last week, you just won't be able to keep him out of the top 10. No question.
100%.
Especially with his starting, he's starting at 7-8 under. He'll be just fine. So my third pick, this is somebody who he's eventually going to bounce back from the British hangover, right? Colin Morikawa. It's to happen, right?
Boy, what a disappointing playoffs. To come in the number 1 guy and to basically, what is he starting? Is he starting 1 under or even par? He barely made the Tour Championship.
I'm not sure the starting score, but he's certainly not in the top 5. So
yeah, he's I think only starting at 1 or 2 under par. Him and Spieth had some disappointing playoffs to get to this moment, and we're waiting for Morikawa to play some good golf. Hasn't happened, not since the Open. Of course, it's a great year no matter what, but been a disappointing playoffs to say the least. I agree. Love to see it come around here, and that's probably not bad value what you're getting him for. I got to take a guy who finished well last week, and you're getting him for the cheapest number you can get him at, $7,000. Taking Sergio Garcia. Yes, he's starting way back, but he played his way in. He's trending in the right direction, and for $7,000, all the guy's got to do is string 4 good rounds together, and he'll be, a top 10 player in this week.
And speaking of motivated, he played Sunday like he cared about qualifying for the Tour Championship.
100%.
Other guys did. Yeah.
Yeah, he played.
You could tell he was aware of where he stood all day.
He played great. It was other than that bunker, the bunker shot where he left it in there. I thought Serge put on a ball striking clinic. He just hit the hell out of the ball. Really impressive to watch.
Right. So for my fourth pick, I went with Jordan Spieth. I just think he's too good not to bounce back, and I don't think that what we've seen lately has been any type of indicator that Spieth is back in the hole. I think he's still one of the best players in the world, and I think he's too prideful to keep playing poorly.
And it's really not that he played poorly. He has too many foul balls. The foul balls are back a little bit, which is a concern. Like he played under par at Caves Valley. I mean, it wasn't fantastic, but I mean, it wasn't a disaster either. Liberty National sticks out as still the disaster, where he shoots 62 in the second round, and you're like, man, he is lights out. And then he makes back-to-back triple bogeys in the next round and plays himself out of the golf tournament. It's just inexplicable, some inexplicable stuff from Spieth over these playoffs. It's been weird to see. I will take, with my fourth pick, I'm going to take Cam Smith. He's not motivated by the $15 million, but you get good value for him here at $10,800. And like I said, he's had a phenomenal year. He really could easily have like 3 to 4 wins this year. Like he easily could. He only has the one in the team event with Leishman. But man, you just feel like he's been on the doorstep all year. It's not quite Tony Finau territory, but you'd like to have seen him close the deal more than once. Wouldn't be surprised if he wins this tournament, though. It makes a run, because a guy who can putt has a chance at East Lake, always does.
Right. So for my fifth pick, I went with someone who I just think is not going to want Bryson DeChambeau to have the spotlight. I went with the nemesis to your pick. I went with Brooks Koepka.
Love it.
A lot of money on the line. Tends to motivate him. Again, he's motivated by weird things. Major championships are not weird things, but sticking it to Bryson DeChambeau just might be one of those things that motivates Brooks Koepka.
It's weird, and yet I want to see him. They do need to kind of squash this thing before the Ryder Cup. But man, I'll tell you this: if the USA loses big at the Ryder Cup, the first guy I want to interview is Brooks Koepka, because I feel like he'll tell us what the problem is. And he won't say it's him, but he'll tell us who it is. And that I look forward to. My fifth pick, I am taking Hideki Matsuyama, who, again, he's won the Masters this year. He had a great year. He's in the Tour Championship. That's fantastic. There's still probably no better iron player in the freaking world than Hideki Matsuyama. If he can just as we always say this, if he can just putt okay, just putt average, he's going to be there at the end, and I hope so here this week. So go Matsuyama. That's my fifth pick. How about your sixth, Tyus?
For my sixth pick, I am going to make a call, like a home run call.
Oh, a prediction.
And for anyone who's listening, we did not talk about picks, but I know you and I share the same sixth pick. The hottest player in the world right now. Row the boat. Sky Yuma. Go Gophers. Is there anyone in the world hotter than Eric Van Royen? By the way, shout out to Eric Van Royen. Can he play wide receiver? Because I think Fleck and his boys might need him tomorrow against Ohio State, but that's aside the point. But Eric Van Royen with my sixth pick. Tim, who is your sixth pick?
It's not Eric Van Royen, but you're absolutely right. Eric Van Royen has played really good golf over the last month. Like ever since he had a rough go in like the spring and early summer where he was obliterating tee markers at the PGA Championship, and you can just tell he was really frustrated. He's found some mojo, winning at the Barracuda. I think before that he played okay at the 3M. He's got something going, and he's played well in these playoffs to get himself to the Tour Championship. That's big for Van Royen. That's big for his status. Good for him. But I got to take Scottie Scheffler because, again, I'm convinced we're due to see him win. I just don't know when, but I want to be there when it happens. I want to see what happens here this week. He's in it for, you get him for $8,500. You got to feel like that's a steal.
I like Scottie Scheffler. I just get Tony Finau years ago vibes.
You get a whiff of Tony Finau on Scottie Scheffler.
Yeah.
There's a little Tony Finau stink on him.
All the talent in the world, a name you see a lot, but just can't find the winner's circle.
It is something to keep an eye on. I'm not ready to go there yet because he's only on tour like year 2. So if we start getting into next year and we're like, man, we're waiting for this guy to close the deal here, then I think we can start having that conversation. Like we were starting to have with Xander, and then he won a gold medal. So now we can't really have that conversation with Xander for a while. And Finau finally won at Liberty National. So maybe now the attention will turn to Scheffler after this tournament as we get started into next wraparound season. We'll see how it goes.
Full bookmark it. Man, I'm really disappointed you didn't pick Van Ryn.
You know what? I looked at him. I'm not going to say he wasn't on my list. Absolutely was. But I just feel like, man, if you can get Scheffler for 85, you got to do it. Got to do
Honorable mention.
Honorable mention would be Eric Van Rooyen. You're right. He's had a great year. Great finish to the year.
Daily fantasy, just for those out there and myself who quickly skimmed past the disclaimer, but scores are based off of 0, right?
I do believe so. Like I think like if you're in first, but you're not getting 10, you're not getting 100 points to start because you made 10 birdies. No, it's all I believe gross from here on out.
Okay. Makes sense. Thank you.
But your place is your place. So you do get the extra 25 bonus points or whatever it is for being in first place if you can hang on to it. But I think it's all gross. You're not getting like 10, you're not getting 100 points for the 10 birdies or anything like that to start. It's not like that.
I was asking for a friend, so.
You know what? If they can pass the sports book here in the state of Minnesota, this whole prediction segment will be really different next year. We really need to get this done. I mean, come on.
It's so fun. So fun.
Let's get on this, politicians. Come on now. Let's go, Minnesota. Let's follow everybody else. Let's get this done. Let's stop with the moral superiority.
We can do our 3 sneaky bets of the day, whatever we want to call them.
You and I both will become degenerate gamblers. You know that, and I know that. Like it'll get out of hand in a hurry.
Yep. We'll be so wealthy.
We'll belong to that country club, and then we'll see what's up after that. Or your wife and my wife will have to form some sort of support group for us as we get through it. That'll be the other part of that too.
What's your country club of choice? If you had
well, I'm 2 blocks.
Unlimited.
I'm 2 blocks from the TPC. Why wouldn't I do that?
Yeah, but let's take location out. Let's say Twin Cities. I would probably go with Spring Hill or Interlaken.
Spring Hill, Interlaken, Golden Valley Country Club, A.W. Tillinghast. Yeah. Kind of like that. White Bear Yacht Club. Oof, yep. White Bear sounds like a good
There's some good ones in the cities.
We've got some good ones out here, no question about it, and not all that far. Like we're not that far from White Bear Yacht Club. We're not that far from some of these great courses. Golden Valley Country Club, not far at all. Let's get this done. I was just waiting for you to do it because you're swimming in it soon. I'd like to see you just figure out a way to take care of that for us.
Someday.
All right. Hey, before we go, Zach wanted me to make sure that you knew that he was not trying to intentionally dupe you during the fantasy draft and feels bad. He doesn't want you to be mad at him.
By the way, if we're going to get into that, I just wanted to bring up the point that now it's clear that I have friends that are scumbags and you have friends that are scumbags. And scumbags doesn't mean that they're bad people. I know Zach's a great guy.
It just means they're
I know that for a fact. Zach is salt of the earth. He's a teacher. Root for him. But scumbag to the end. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. Just like you call my friends a scumbag. Scumbag.
Total scumbags.
Okay. You got to have scumbags and you got to have nice guys. And Zach is a great fantasy football player. And he flexed his muscle on me. And I'm embarrassed. I was embarrassed about it. And kudos to him. He's the GOAT. Whatever.
And you know what? In fairness to him, he's like, I legitimately was hoping to just get him for $1. Like to see if somebody would let me just have him for $1. Like I was like, and I could stash him on my bench and maybe have him for $6 next year. And it's you know what's weird? I would have maybe said like, yeah, right. You were just trying to dupe somebody. But then I went to a draft later that night, Tyus, and one guy literally tried to get 3 guys who were out for the year in the hopes of just stashing out of the 3, hanging on to one of them for a keeper next year. So apparently this is a thing now. I have no idea.
You should have passed along the memo, and I would have gladly let him have him for $1.
I didn't. I was trying. That's why I yelled out on the chat, "Keeper, keeper, keeper." Like I was trying to yell that. If I could have, I was yelling it from my house in the hopes that somebody would hear it.
Ultimate respect move. I saw it.
I was looking out for you, Tyus. I was trying to be like, I was there for, and I was worried about John too, like, because John doesn't read any. John's all about just playing golf. He ain't reading he's not reading ESPN for injury wires in the morning of the draft. He's not doing that.
I was tied up. I tend to keep up on it. I was tied up that morning, and it was not on my radar.
Sorry
not in the slightest.
Poor guy. I feel bad for you. Hang in there, my friend.
No big.
We're going to take this offline now, you and I, because you and I got to talk golf and we got to get out. We got to figure out how to do it. School's back in session next week, so we're going to make it all work and try to play golf. And I'm going to become basically a weekend golfer starting next week. So I got to enjoy this weekend and get out as much as I humanly possibly can, and I will definitely do that. Tyus, enjoy the golf. If you have, we've had a lot of great listeners come into the pod here over the last week or so, thanks to our Peak Cinema of Mallrats with Lauren. We did NFL pod last week. We did the Power 5 college football pod as well. So we've had a chance to get into a lot of different things here on the podcast over the last week and a half or so. So we encourage you to continue to do that. Subscribe, rate 5 stars, leave a comment, share, all that jazz. Spotify, Podbean, at timpodcast at .podbean.com. Same thing on, we're on Pandora, we're on everything, iHeartRadio, we're everywhere, Audible, you name it, the podcast is out there. You can find it anywhere. Please subscribe to it and give it a listen. I would appreciate it if you did. Thank you, Tyus. On behalf of Tyus, for Ty, this is Tim, saying keep your head up, and we will see you next time.